A-level biology is for a student who enjoys learning, I think. There is a lot of information to try and learn with biology. There's lots of key terminology as well, lots of terms to wrap your head around. So we often say to students, it's a bit like learning a new language. So students have got to sort of embrace that challenge, and that they've got to have that kind of hunger to, that curiosity, I suppose, to want to learn more about the world in which we live. In year one of the course, there's a lot of topics that are quite similar to what we do at GCSE. So we start with, I think quite logically, we start with looking at sort of cells and then build our way up. So we look at different cells, eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells, look at the different types of organelles that you get within cells and what they do, their different functions, and then we sort of build up and have a look at different tissues, different organs in both plants and animals. We look at how cells divide a lot in year one, so we look at mitosis and meiosis in a lot of depth and detail. And then we move into topics like exchange surfaces and transport in animals, which is a topic that students often really enjoy. And we look at the respiratory system in mammals, but we also look at it in fish. We look at the gills of fish. We do locusts as well. We look at how insects breathe. As they don't have lungs, they breathe through these spiracles that they have in their abdomen. And the students always really enjoy the dissections that we do for that topic, as they enjoy looking at fish gills, and the locust can be a bit fiddly, but they really enjoy that. Cardiovascular system as well, we look at a lot at sort of the structure of the heart and how that works. So there's that topic, and then in the second half of year one we move into looking at topics on different diseases, communicable diseases, and we look at classification, evolution, biodiversity, so really kind of broad spectrum of different topics in biology. And year one is about really getting the foundations of the subject to a really high level. So a lot of it's quite similar to GCSE and sort of builds on that knowledge. It makes students really confident with lots of different fundamentals in the subject. So that then in year two we go into lots of detail in terms of processes like photosynthesis, respiration. There's some more human anatomy and physiology on the nervous system and the endocrine system. And we do a lot on genetics, genetic engineering and gene editing. So there's lots there about, also think about the ethics of some of these technologies. So just because we now can potentially edit the human genome, we spend a lot of time thinking about should we, and what are the ethics surrounding that. Also a topic on ecosystems and conservation. So really broad, fantastic breadth in the subject, everything from microbiology to sort of genetics, plant biology, animal biology, human biology. You know, there's kind of something for everybody. So A-level biology is now assessed just with exams at the end of the 2 years. There are 3 exams, 2 of them are about 2 hours 15, one of them's about an hour and a half, and that will assess knowledge from the whole of the course, whole of the 2 years. So although we don't do any coursework anymore, we still spend a lot of time in the lab doing lots of practical work. So there's something called a practical endorsement that students do when they do the sciences, and that's a series of 12 key practical skills that they develop over the course. So a minimum of 12, we do a lot more than that. So I think we do 40, 50 practicals through the 2 years of the course. We find that practical work is a really important way of applying the knowledge and putting it into some context. And students will get assessed on their practical skills through the 2 years, and they get what's called a practical endorsement at the end. So that's either a pass or a fail, but the students, as long as they're turning up and they're doing it and having a go and looking at the results. In biology, we don't always get the results that we expect for various different reasons, but then there's lots that students can kind of talk about and think about sort of evaluation. How could we do things differently in the future? What were the limitations? So it's all about developing that sort of understanding, that process and that thinking. We try to get into the lab as much as we can for the practical work that we do, and we do a wide range of practical work in the lab, sometimes outside as well, that if we're doing some sampling, something like that. We do lots of practicals with things like sort of enzyme practicals. We do work with, we've done one recently looking at transpiration rates with plants and looking at how they transpire. We also do a few dissections, so things like we do a heart dissection, we dissect a fish, we dissect a locust, kidneys. So students often really enjoy that part of things, but I think it's also important to make students aware that that's not a compulsory part of the course. So if for whatever reason students don't feel comfortable doing the dissection, they don't have to do that part of it. There are alternatives that we can do instead. So yeah, I don't want that to put anybody off doing the course. So we've got a trip coming up fairly soon, actually, to Warwick University, where we go to hear from leading scientists from across the country. They come and talk to us about their different areas of their research, and that can be everything from sort of forensic science and use of DNA in sort of DNA analysis to we've had conservation talks in the past. We've had surgeons come and talk to us about some of the work they've done. We've also run trips to places like the Natural History Museum in Oxford for our topic on classification and evolution. We've been to places like Monkey World down in Dorset for our topic on, again, sort of conservation, animal behaviour. The Cotswold Wildlife Park, which we're very fortunate to have just down the road. And we've done field trips as well in the past, maybe sort of 3 or 4 days to places like North Wales. We've been to Snowdonia for a few days, which is usually a fantastic trip. Certainly for me anyway, because I get to put my wellies on and go splashing in a stream looking for dragonfly larvae and that kind of thing. So yeah, those field trips are there too. Got lots of students that have left Cirencester College and then gone off to do something maybe in the biology related in the future. So we have lots of students who are successful in going off to do medicine or veterinary science or dentistry. We get lots of students going into sort of research as well, so it might be biomedical research, cancer research. We've had students going into areas of like conservation, ecology, lots of microbiologists as well coming through. Marine biology seems to be a very popular one at the moment. So yeah, lots of students, and it's always lovely to hear from past students who they get in touch with us after a few years and say, I've just done this, I've just done my PhD in this, or they, you know, helping research new antibiotics or whatever it happens to be is a really it's a really rewarding part of what we do. And you know, as teachers, is not just the 2 years that we have with students here, but it's then seeing what they do afterwards, and just being a small part of that journey is really rewarding. I've been teaching for 10 years here at Cirencester College. I think one of the things is just the students that we have. We get a really nice mix of different students that come and do biology. I really enjoy working with my team as well. The biology team are all a fantastic group of people. So the students, the team, but also just the environment that we have here at the college. So it's a lovely place to come and work every day. Cirencester is in a beautiful part of the world, and the campus that we've got, the facilities that we have are just fantastic, including the lab facilities that we're fortunate enough to have for our science teaching.